Stop picking stuff out. I understand vision boards. I understand you put what you want and all of that good stuff. But sometimes we got to leave some stuff up to God. God, I want the house that you want me to have. Just allow me to have enough room, and, be specific, enough room to do this, that, and the other. But other than that, God, whatever you got for me, I'm fine with it. God, the vehicle that you want me to have, bless me with it. It don't matter what it look like, what color it is, or what make or brand it is. Just go ahead and give me what you want me to have. The spouse, God, whatever it is, I don't matter what, I don't have all these picky. As long as they honest, as long as they have some integrity about themselves, God, I don't need all the other stuff, God. I just want you to give me who you have that's designed for me. Because as long as I'm picking them out, then something's going to be wrong. Amen. James, Jesus' brother, wrote one book that is included in our scriptures. And in the 3rd chapter of this book, he talks about the taming of the tongue. Y'all familiar with this? Did y'all know that was Jesus' brother?
Yes.
James. And the thing is, I look at James, and just for a second, I'll get off track for a second. I look at the rest of them. I look at the disciples, Matthew, and somebody asked me, why is Matthew your favorite book? And I said, I think probably because, he was like really there with Jesus. I know John was too, but Matthew was like really there, And I really like Matthew because he speaks to a Jewish audience. But James, this was Jesus' brother. He would have known Jesus before he was Jesus, right? Yeah. He would have been with Jesus. I don't know when James was born. Of course, Jesus is the oldest. And so I don't know how old Jesus was when James came along, but I would imagine that they are within a couple of years, from one another. And so he would have think about your relationship with your siblings and think about how well you know your siblings, grew up with them, especially the ones that grew up around one another. He would have grown up in the household with Jesus. And there would have been some things that young Jesus would have done. See, we know Jesus was being Jesus-like when he was at least 12 years old because he was in the temple already just, up to I can't say up to no good, but, his parents was like, what you up to? And he's like, I'm in my father's house. What would you expect? He already doing stuff that's getting on Joseph and Mary nerves, They got to go all the way back to Jerusalem for this little guy, And so I can imagine James probably was like this little peculiar like my older brother's peculiar, man. I can imagine that there were some things that Jesus would have said that the other disciples have never even heard Jesus say. That James would have remembered. And James would have witnessed because he would have known Jesus in his teenage years. He would have known Jesus in his early 20s. Right? He would have known Jesus beyond just the 3 years that John and Matthew and all of them knew Jesus. And he would have known Jesus, right? And James was also one who was pretty peculiar when it came to, and we want to believe, and it probably is so, that James was one of the ones that when Jesus was going to Jerusalem, well, they were headed to Jerusalem, saying, you going? And they were ridiculing him. And Jesus said, no, I'm going to stay behind. Because they didn't believe who he was. And James was probably in the group at that time, not believing his brother. But what happens is at some point when Jesus resurrects, James becomes a follower. And James writes a book, and he says this in the 3rd chapter. He talks about that the tongue, though it is small, it controls the whole body. He likens it to when we put bits in a horse's mouth. He says you put a bit in a horse's mouth and you can lead the horse wherever you want the horse to go. He also says it's like an udder on a ship. And if you've ever seen the udder, a ship is huge, but it has like this little udder at the bottom. And wherever you turn it, it will direct the whole ship to turn in a certain direction. And he says that the tongue is small, but it affects the whole body. And he talks about the fact that we have tamed all kinds of animals. And I'm talking about, go back to Genesis for a second, Genesis, where it says that we are to rule over the animals and the kingdom and the fish and the sea. And we've tamed a lot of animals. I don't know how many people own cats and dogs in here, but they were not domesticated at one time. We tamed them. right, and birds and all that kind of stuff, and we tame them, and we've learned to tame animals, and sheep are tame, and horses become tame, and even in the wild, and we can get a wild one and tame a wild one to become a domesticated one, amen. And James talks about this, and we're supposed to be able to do that because that is part of our creation, right? That we should be able to subdue the animal kingdom. But James says that though we can subdue the animal kingdom, nobody has been able to subdue the tongue. That it is a ruthless evil, that it continues to do whatever it wants to do and say whatever it wants to say. And some of us have become ruthless with our words. And the thing is, I'm preaching, but I know some of us already know the power that our tongues possess. We know the damage that we can inflict. And when we hurt, we let loose. We already know the power that we have in the tongue. Many of us, we take pride in ourselves for being able to read somebody to feel. Got quiet in here as soon as I said that.
Guilty.
We take pride, right? You know, I let loose, right?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not talking down, I'm talking with. I mean, we in this culture, we are quick with our wit and our tongue, and it's our crown of glory. We will Olivia Pope somebody. We will Daddy Pope somebody all the way, and won't think twice about it, be proud of ourselves, then brag about it on social media.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, there is a time for everything. Jesus did not hold back when he was coming with the Pharisees. When it came to the Pharisees, Jesus did not hold back. There's a time and there's a place for everything. Jesus was the original. You want to hear somebody read somebody to feel, turn on over and read when Jesus talks to the Pharisees and talks about their hypocritical ways and their brood of vipers and the fact that they wash the outside of the cup but not the inside. And, you know, he said you're a whitewashed wall. You know, he just literally goes in on them. And it's like, yeah, that's my dude, right? You know, like, that's where I learned it from, you know. But the thing is, there's a time to read and there's a time not to read.
Yes.
But sometimes we just don't know the difference.
Right.
And the people that we consider enemies a lot of times are not the enemy. And the people that we feel like we should be reading or feel justified to read, that's not who we should be talking to. And that's not who we should be wasting our words and our energy on. You know, I said a long time ago, and I probably said it, I know I've said it in front of you all before, but I said a long time ago, I stopped wasting my energy and time on individual ants when I realized that I could affect the anthill.
All right.
And what I see in the scriptures that Jesus went to the anthill. He didn't worry about individual ants. He went straight to the anthill, and that's when he let loose. That's when the power of the tongue came out for Jesus. But and the thing is, many of us right now, we will sit there and debate on social media with an ant.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, Jesus.
When the anthill is still standing. And if you know what I'm talking about, anybody that's been outside as a kid, and we all from the country, or we live here now, amen. And so you know what I'm talking about. There'll be an ant or two, and you stomping them, you know, and you got the little line of ants, and you know, whatever you gonna do, you put the little magnifying glass, and you fry them, or whatever, you know. Some of us are more cruel than others. You take the water, and you drown a couple of them, you know. Salt. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, salt. Lord Jesus. Any case, we all had our little torture moments for these poor little ants. But the thing is, but then when you go back and follow the trail, there's a big old anthill with thousands upon thousands upon thousands of ants in it. And it don't matter if you spend all day outside frying and stepping on and pouring water on and putting salt apparently on and magnifying glass and the ones that was coming out, there is still underneath the ground a whole colony of them that you ain't even touched. And many of us, we spend our time, waste our energy and our powerful words on individual ants. And meanwhile, the colony is running amok. Some of us, we get on these little tangents and we want to affect the government, but we're talking to individual people. Ain't never called a senator before in our life. Ain't never wrote a letter before in our life. That's the anthill.
That's it.
You want to read somebody, go to Atlanta to the Capitol and read. You want to read somebody, go and write a letter to the desk of the president. You want to read somebody, that's where you read. That's where you let the power of the tongue do the powerful work. You don't do it to the individual people, because you'll be talking all day and nothing will ever be accomplished.
Right.
And you have to be careful about what you say. You have to understand the power of your words, and you should choose them wisely. If you understood that everything you say produces fruit. So you can produce good fruit or you can produce bad fruit. So you remember, this is the thing. You can produce good or you can produce bad. But remember this, you are the person that takes the first bite of whatever it is that you produce. So you can produce good fruit or you can produce bad fruit. But remember, you are the person that takes the first bite. Meaning that as soon as it comes out of your lips, your ears hear it. It already was manifested in your heart.
That's right.
Because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so it was in your heart, and so it came out of your mouth. But guess what? Then it goes back in your ears. Whatever it is. And then it filters into your mind. And your mind then filters it back into your heart. And so many of us, we have this cycle of dirty water that just continues to flow in and out. There's no fresh spring. There's nothing fresh. So we have to stop that. So this is what happens to a lot of us, and that's what I'm talking about. A lot of times we don't even realize the negativity because it's been given to us already. So it's in our heart, and so it comes up, it goes out of our mouth, it goes in our into our ears and into our brain and into our heart, and then out of our mouth and into our ears and into our brain and out into our heart, and so on and so forth. So there's this cycle, and we continue to spew it. Sometimes it came from our parents, and so we're just repeating what we've heard. We're repeating what's here and out of our mouth and into our ears and into our minds and into our hearts. And then we're passing that down to our children. Because out of our mouth into their ears, into their mind, into their heart. Understand this, your brain believes everything it hears when it first hears it. Everything, it don't matter what it is, the sky is purple. Your brain believes that at first. Now you reasoned it away. You logically reversed it and looked and said, no, the sky is blue. But at first, when your brain first heard the sky is purple, it believed it as a statement. Otherwise, you couldn't have heard it. Mm-hmm. You heard it. You audibly had to hit. It went through your ears, and it translated in your brain. The sky is purple. Your brain heard it, right? Mm-hmm. Am I making sense? Because if it didn't believe it, you would have heard the sky is blue. But it believed it. You heard the sky is purple. You heard what I said. It believed it. Now, it dismissed it, I hope. Unless you Prince, the sky is all purple. So, but it dismissed it. And you went back to the right train of thought. Sky is blue, right? And that's what's settled in your heart. And that's what's going to come out your mouth the next time you say it. Amen. That's what you're going to teach to your kids. But understand this, some of us never have a filter to tell us any different. The negativity that our parents, our grandparents, and society has told us. Mm-hmm. Because if I taught my child the sky is purple, she would believe the sky is purple. She would know no difference. Mm-hmm. If I taught her that blue was purple, she would call blue purple. And she would know no difference. She would only have the information that I've given to her to go by. And some of us understand this. Now, some of us have misinformation in our minds and in our hearts. And so when we hear things, our minds have no filter to rationalize it and make it right. And so we continue to believe negativity. And negativity then becomes normal. Negativity becomes normal. Have you ever met someone that cannot function outside of chaos?
Yes.
Negativity becomes normal. And a lot of times, and we've seen it played out even in church, because when you are in an environment where you're trying to work in a healthy environment, for some people, it is the first time they've ever worked in a corporate environment where there is no drama.
Yep.
And where drama is stomped out in a way that is healthy. Because there's always going to be something. Just get it, there's always going to be a disagreement. But the thing is, with disagreements, you stomp it out in a positive and a healthy way. And so for some people, you will see that because there is no drama, they will create drama so that they can feel comfortable. Because that's what feels normal. All of a sudden, dysfunction feels functional. And sometimes in our own minds, and this is going to take us really thinking, what are the things that I'm thinking and how am I thinking? Because sometimes in our own minds, the things that we look at as positive are actually negative. And our minds just don't know the difference. Our hearts certainly don't know the difference. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And because our words have power, it manifests itself. That's why negative people don't live positive lives. And if you're not living a positive life, I implore you to check your words first. If your life is not lining up in a positive manner, I implore you, check your words first. Check what you are saying first. And then check the environment that you are in. Because if it's not you saying it, then it's probably somebody around you saying it. Because that spiritual negativity will manifest itself into your reality. And if you're not living a positive life, it's probably because there's negativity around you. We need to be like David in Psalm 141, verse 3. He said, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the door of my lips. We need to be able to speak positive words over ourselves no matter what the situation is. That's why the scripture says, let the weak say that I am strong. We need to be able to say, let the poor say I am rich. Let the sick say I am healed. Speak it out of your mouth. Stop allowing negativity to settle in your heart and come out of your lips. You must not allow negativity to take hold. You must take every thought captive to Christ, because it is in your words that your power is yielded. It is in your words that things become reality. And when you speak negative happens. Negative follows you. The thing is, the psalmist said, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. That's because he was speaking goodness and mercy. And I'm just going to continue to speak goodness and mercy, because when I say it, it's got to follow me. It's got to be behind me. It's got to tag on to me, because it's in my heart. Goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of my Lord forever. You got to speak it out of your mouth. You got to speak it into the atmosphere. You got to let the devil hear you say it. And if you can't say it, then you better write it down somewhere. You better say it out loud. You better put it on a video recorder or something and play it. Say it out loud.
Amen.
If your voice is gone, learn to sign it.
I know that's right.
God forbid the devil try to take your voice and you still got hands left. Put it in sign language. Write it down.
Amen.
But my words have power.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
Tattoo it to you.
Yes.
That way, anytime anybody look at it, they got to read it. What's that mean? What's that say? You got to say it again.
Yes.
Let them say it. Well, you read it. What does that say?
Yes.
Negativity has to cease. And I dare you to make it cease today. I dare you, because your words are powerful.
Yes.
Don't you catch yourself. The next time you're about to complain about something, catch yourself. Nope, that's negative. And then put it in a positive. Everything that you can say in a negative, you can put it in a positive. It ain't got to be negative. We so used to it, sometimes we don't know. The thing is, if you don't know, hey, I think I'm living negative, I think I'm talking negative, I'm not sure though, it's not normal for me. Get you somebody that's around you that's positive and tell them, catch me. Whenever I start talking negative, I need you to catch me. Y'all think I'm not talking to you, I'm talking with you.
Yes.
I didn't grow up in a household where positive words were always spoken. And so I live with a woman now that don't like negative. And so when I'm talking negative, because sometimes it comes out of me. And she's like, oh no, you always talking so negative. And I got to catch myself. Okay. Well, how should I say it then?
All right.
Because I'm willing to learn. Because I don't want negativity going into my child. I don't want negativity in the atmosphere of our home. Think about that. Some of the words that you say out your mouth in your home. That stuff got to land somewhere. Erica swear up and down I'm sick because I spoke it. she said, that's what she said to me earlier. You was talking all that sickness and now you sick because it had to land somewhere. It might be truth in it. Your words have power. I am healed. By his stripes, I am healed.
Amen.
I am healed. I am delivered. I am set free. The enemy has no control, no reign, no rule in my body or my household. Amen. Speak positive words. That is our goal for this week. That is our homework. Speak positive words. Like I said, if you can't speak positive, you don't know if you're speaking positive, you can't tell the difference right now because it's hard. Get you somebody that is positive and run the things that you're saying by them. And let them know, I need you to tell me if it's negative. Does this sound negative to you? Because if it's negative, I don't want to say it. I want to delete it and I want a different way to say it.